project. I'll make it out of cherry wood. I got a piece of log over there, and I'm going to try to do a carving of my great-grandson. Got a photograph of him here, pulling a wagon. Get a little closer look. My log is 10 inches in diameter, so I can go a little bigger than that. And I took my computer printer and 155% made a bigger one. He's 7 inches tall in this picture, which is 0.17 to 1 scale. He's actually 41 inches tall. So I've got the template ready, and I've got a log, and I'll explain in a little more detail in a minute. This is a really terrible sketch, but maybe you can see how I'm going to cut the log. Let me go into it a little bit more next. Well, I'm getting ready to start another wood carving project, and before I do, I thought I'd cover a little bit about harvesting wood. I like to use hardwoods for my projects, and mainly cherry and walnut, because that's what I've got a lot of on the property here, and it's available. So, but it's important that you have dry wood. I'm trying to use logs as much as I can instead of buying wood, so they have to be dry. And I've got a couple of examples here. Both of these logs are cherry, right way and wrong way to harvest wood. This log here is one that came from a live tree that I cut for a friend about a year ago. It had severe storm damage and they wanted it out, so I took it, cut it, and took the log and stored it in my shed for about 6 months. Went and checked the moisture level. It was like 50%. And of course I wasn't satisfied with that rate. I'm an old guy, and I gotta have it dried out in my lifetime, so I decided to go ahead and take the bark off and the sapwood and trimmed her down and brought her here in the shop and let it set another 6 months, and that's about 35% moisture content now still. And it's been drying all right. Look at the cracks in it, and it's become pretty much trash or firewood now, so this is not the right way to do it. Contrast that, I got this log here that I cut from a dead tree. Cut it about 2 months ago, and the tree had been dead about 3 years, still standing in the woods. I cut it down, and the bark and sapwood were in terrible condition. It was like rotten, and got that all off. And hardwood part of it, the heartwood part of it is in good condition. I've checked the moisture level on this using the ohm meter, and my chart made another video, but anyway, this moisture level is between 20 and 25%. It's still a little bit wetter than I would prefer, but I'm going to take a chance that it won't crack when I get into the project. So, but anyway, the point is that this log is drier than this log, and it's in relatively good shape compared to this one. So the conclusion is that be sure and use a dead tree that's been dead 2 or 3 years at least. You don't want to wait too long. It'll be no good on the inside either, of course. But if it's still standing, it's got some strength, so it's probably good shape. Just cut her down and check it, and that's the way to get your log. Okay, this is the cherry log that I'm starting with. It's about 10 inch diameter, 24 inches long. I'm going to start by, I've already cut this, but I'm cutting it down to 17 inches to get this crooked part off, and then painted the end so it doesn't crack so quickly. Then I decided to go ahead and work on the base. The base is going to be about 1 inch thick, and so I already cut this piece off here, this slab, to make a flat bottom. And I've got some scrap here I got to cut off, this quadrant and this one here too. And now the base is only going to be about 5 inches wide. And figure, I've allowed about 4 inches of stock here for the actual figure. And this is going to be the front of it, and I'm going to recess the figure back about 1 inch from the end, and so the thing will be like that. Then let me get it off the piece of cut so it's flat. Now I've got these points here. I'm going to have to saw down and then over on both sides. So to have a line to follow, I bring this in here. Now this looks kind of crooked probably, but I used a string and a shop light projecting a shadow on this surface to sketch in the actual travel of the saw. So I got a line to follow both sides, and that way I can have a flat cut when I'm done. So anyway, you can see more detail of that in another video I did earlier on. But anyway, so now I got a lot of cutting to do later. Okay, I've been doing a considerable amount of sawing using my AR-15 saw, and I'll show you where I'm at. Got all this. This isn't easy cutting either. A lot of material going on here now. Down to this, and show you a little more where I'm at. Okay, I got the outline sketched. This part's actually from the photograph, and the wagon is I had to reconstruct it because the photograph was the eye level was about here, and the time you get way out here, it's all out of due to perspective. It was kind of out of shape, so I reconstructed that and drew it on there. And the end view is also from another photograph, same scale. Got the same thing on the back. So I'm going to be cutting about here. You can see the top of the head has still got wood there, so we're okay. And the bottom, I'm not sure I'll keep this shape for the base, but I've already finished it so it's nice and smooth. And I put tape on it because I'm planning to put a block of wood on the bottom. I'll use screws to put it on there to have something to hold it in the vise with. And when I do that, this is cherry, so if it's exposed to the light, it'll begin to darken. And if I got a block of wood on there, it'll be light where the wood was and dark everywhere else, and that's really hard to sand out. So to prevent that, I put this on here. And that'll also protect the finish a little bit too. So next, I'll be cutting this outline here all the way down. I do have a crack over here started, but I'm going to be cutting away a lot of that, so we'll see where I'm at when I'm through cutting. But I'm going to cut away all this now, and some of the front too, and start getting down where I start. Then I'll cut this view next, and we'll see where we are later. Okay, I thought it time for a quick update before I went any further. As you can see, I've been cutting away a lot of the material, following the pattern. Got enough of it done here where I could sketch in the top of the wagon. I'm not ready to do that yet, but it's there, so I can see how much is just going to be thrown away here. This area here is pretty precise with regard to the pattern. I've got both sides on here so you can see to make the cuts straight, and that way the center is accurate. Then got this side, and it looks pretty close. So now I'm ready to I'm going to focus on this area here. So I'm going to remove these patterns. I've got about all the good out of them I can get, and start to sculpt the head, shoulders, and arms. This is my great-grandson, so it needs to look like him. And if it turns out it doesn't, then there's no point in finishing this thing. So I've got to be careful, take my time and do this carefully and make sure it looks like him. And that's going to be next, later. Okay, I thought I'd give a quick update on the project here. Again, this is my great-grandson. Been working on the head and the face. Took quite a lot of time doing that because I wanted to get as close as possible to the photograph, knowing that that's impossible to be perfect, but especially on this scale. And but it's pretty good. I wanted to do this first so I could be pretty sure the whole thing was going to be successful. That hair texture, I use this tool to do it. Not real difficult. It's a V shape and it's a 30-degree angle. I'm ready to move on to different areas now. Give you an update later. Thought I'd better give a quick update. Getting ready to remove those patterns off the side so I can get better access and start finishing the figure. As you can see, I've removed a whole lot of material. See through it everywhere now. I've been storing this in a dark colored garbage bag overnight to kind of slow down the drying process and to help keep sunlight off of it so it doesn't discolor so bad. Looks like I'm going to have a lot of base there, so I'm going to probably trim that down later. Maybe take a oval pattern or kidney shape, something like that, but I'm going to make that less. Later. Alright, I thought I'd give one last update before I finish the project. I've been doing a little bit of sanding. I'm going to paint them eyes when I get it pretty much done. You see some of the detail. It's hard to get camera focus. The only thing I got left to do is the wagon itself, which isn't too bad. Straight lines and circles. I've been working on the base too. I cut it way down. Got me a funky design there. And it's getting pretty lightweight now. Still got just a little sanding to do on that, and then I'm going to finish the base. I took the holder off so I could do all these curves. I'm going to put that back on now to do the wagon. And then next update will be the finished product. That's it. Okay, I finally finished this project. I wasn't working on it full time or anything, but it took several months. I got no grass like everybody else. And I've got sanded it 80 grit, 100 grit, 220 grit, and down to 400 grit. Then I put one coat of tunnel oil on it, let that dry for 2 days. Then I put a coat of semi-gloss polyurethane. It says fast drying, but it's not fast drying. It's got to set overnight. Then I sanded that first coat with 400 grit, light, real light sanding. and then I put a second coat on it. That's got a signed and dated, and it's ready to rock and roll. All done. Later.
It ain't just a wagon, it's made out of magic. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I get to rolling, I'm ready for it, away from the shore.